friendship, confused feelings, and an almost lavender marriage.
Hmm.
This week, we're revisiting The Object of My Affection, a funny yet bittersweet 90s movie that proved maybe we should marry our best friend. I don't know.
Huh? We'll
Yeah.
find out. Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies of the late 90s and early 2000s. And this week we are talking about the 1998 dramedy, The Object of My Affection. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and want to support us, this is how you can.
Lights, camera, subscribe. Don't miss out on the action. Subscribe now and be the first to catch every new episode release.
All right, Jackie, let me tell you about what is the object of my affection about. Well, in the late 90s New York, Nina Borowski thinks she finally found the perfect man, George Hansen. He's charming, sweet, emotionally available, and actually listens during conversations. There's
Mhm.
just one tiny hiccup. He's gay.
Oh,
Yeah. Naturally, instead of making things simple, these two decide to become roommates, co-parents to be, an emotional support system for each other, while every person around them slowly realizes this arrangement might not be as perfect as it seems. The movie stars Jennifer Aniston, Paul Rudd, Alan Alda, Allison Janney, Tim Daly, Callie Rocha, and John Pankow. The movie was directed by Nicholas Hintner, who also directed my all-time fave, Center Stage, and The Crucible. The movie was written by Wendy Wasserstein, and you can currently watch it on Amazon and Apple TV or YouTube by renting. It's not free. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
so you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
The best would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again.
2-day rental,
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
and same day rental.
Throw it in the East River. It's trash.
So, Danielle, what was your Y2K rating of the object of my affection?
A 2-day rental, if not same day. So I'm gonna be nice and say 2-day rental,
Okay.
but it's also because I remember this movie. So during this time period was when the propaganda machine of Jennifer Aniston was pumping hard. She was still on Friends, and she had a bunch of like mid-tier rom-com situations come out during this time. I
Hmm.
think all the Friends cast were really pushing to like have a movie career. So there was a lot of slop that was, I don't even know if
Yeah.
any of them who did better than
Because
who.
I believe it 98-ish is the same time David Schwimmer was in Breast Men. So there was a lot going on.
And he also did Paul Bear.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I feel like I out of all of them, because Courtney Cox did Scream, she was doing a little bit better with that. And I did enjoy, obviously, Lisa Kudrow and a lot of her like off the wall movies that she
Hmm.
did. There's a movie called Marcy X that she did with which Wayne's brother was that? Your favorite?
Damon.
Yes. And that movie was funny. And then she did obviously Romeo and Michelle and then Hanging Up. So there's a few things that I like that she did, but I will forever say on this podcast, I am never accepting the Jennifer Aniston propaganda. I don't care how hard people try to throw it down my throat that she's a good actress and that she's supposed to be like the most gorgeous thing ever. I don't see it, and I'm not trying to be mean. I think she's fine. Like everyone, eye of the beholder, but I feel like the actual Hollywood machine tries to make me believe that this woman is the most gorgeous thing in the entire world, and it infuriates me to no end. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. This movie is crazy, by the way. After rewatching it, like I thought I had a solid thought.
Uh-huh.
Fucking nuts. I'm going to have even more opinions than I normally would, and that's going to be a lot. So everyone buckle the hell up. How did you
Um,
feel about this movie?
so I, for a fact, distinctly remember owning this movie on VHS.
Mm.
So it would be a would buy again. If it was ever taken out of the cellophane, however, another story, because all of this was brand new for me. I knew the general premise, but I couldn't have told you a thing about it.
I I'm telling you, man, I thought I knew this movie front and back.
It was a wild ride.
I was like, what? Who? Why? Wait, what? What do you say? What?
And the cast was, I was
Top
like,
notch.
what?
Top notch.
Oh,
Like it's
I said, I don't know what I thought I heard. I think I thought I heard not much. And I was like, the Allison Janney slander will not be
Oh,
taken.
never. I will never slander her. No, I was just saying there was so Steve Zahn is in this movie.
Alan
Um,
Alda,
Alan Alda, you've got, and then the younger kids in this movie, you've got Hayden Panettiere, and then
Sarah Hyland.
Sarah Hyland, and the little kid from Stepmom. I can't remember his name. He almost got Harry Potter. He was in it. So I
What?
was like, so many people are in this movie. Even the guy that plays her boyfriend.
Oh, Ira from Mad About You.
Yeah, he's in it. And I'm like, how did he get this
And
role?
Tim Daly's in it, who was
Yes.
also a really popular TV actor at the time.
Yeah. It's just it's all over the place. I'm telling you.
Well, tell us about the box office.
Okay, box office. The movie came out April 17th, 1998, had a budget of $15 million. $15 million wants to make this movie. Okay. I'm going to be shocked even more because guess what? They took that 15 million and they made $46.9 million worldwide. I do believe, although I was safe from the Jennifer Aniston propaganda, but you, America, fell for it because you went to see this movie.
Danielle, do you know who my favorite Friends character is?
Rachel,
Yes.
I know that
But
you.
she can, like, she does a great job as Rachel.
Okay, I'm not going to say that there are not roles that I love Friends. You know that
Yeah.
love that.
You know what roles I do love her in are the
What?
counter roles that she's taken since, like a holiday office party and horrible bosses.
Yeah, when she can play a bitch, I think she's a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
liked her in Just Go With It with Adam Sandler. I think I even watched that Netflix movie they did together.
The mystery date or mystery something something.
Something, yeah. I didn't hate it, and I say this because I don't remember it, but I don't feel like ugh when I think
Yeah.
about it. But Just Go With It, I did have a lot of fun with that. Sick Body, she works really hard on her, working out and stuff like that. Oh,
Anywho, what was
yeah.
at the opening weekend box office?
So at number one, we had City of Angels, which banger soundtrack, by the way. I listened to that nonstop. I gotta find that album. Number two, Object of My Affection, because of the propaganda, y'all believed it. Number three was Lost in Space. Now, I think your dad took us to see that one. I can't remember. No?
No, no, I've never seen Lost in Space.
Maybe I didn't see it.
Or maybe I was, no, because it was too early for me to be working, and
We might have gone without you.
that is very, very possible.
Titanic at number four and Polly at number five. So it was none of these are making me happy in my heart. Even though I like the soundtrack, The City of Angels, but the movie was depressing. So the movie opened strong for an adult skewing romantic dramedy and debuted behind Lost in Space, like I said. And they said it was a moderate financial success for 20th Century Fox. My boys, y'all made your money back and then some. That's more than I could say that you deserved with this
Yes.
film. And Lil Rod pissing me off from the get-go. He gave this movie 2 out of 4 stars. He says the object of my affection deals with some real issues and has scenes that work, but you can see the wheels of the plot turning so clearly that you doubt the characters have much freedom to act on their own. I will say, I didn't look into the man that wrote the book.
Hmm.
I do believe that this movie probably came from a gay perspective and that the studios watered this down to hell. That's how I feel. I could be wrong. But also, it's really hard to look at this movie now with the lens of like, we've had so much more rich films and TV and media from the gay perspective
Yes.
than this. Like, to see straight people playing all the gay roles and just it not being very as nuanced as I think. But this is a
The
precursor to Will and Grace. So,
yes.
but 2 out of 4 stars from Lil Raj. Rolling Stone Peter Travers said that he praised Jennifer Aniston's dramatic performance, calling Wendy's screenplay one of the better showcases for the actress at the time. Hey. And Ruth Stein from the San Francisco Chronicle said that the film occasionally borders on being too clever, but that's a small quibble about a movie that gets so much right. Okay. Y'all, if you love this movie, just turn it off. I, mm, I got a lot to say.
Well, before we get into cast and crew, let's hear a message from our pod pals.
Are you tired of waiting for sparks to fly on your dating app? Do you dream of running through airports to deliver an out-of-breath, unplanned monologue? Then stop doom scrolling and start listening to Meet Cute Rom-Coms. Feel-good love stories that take you from chance encounter to grand romantic gesture in just 15 minutes. We're bringing rom-coms back. Get a brand new Meet Cute series on the first Tuesday of every month, with new episodes twice a week. Fall in love with Meet Cute Rom-Coms, wherever you find your podcasts.
Is this where we kiss?
So, Danielle, the movie was originally planned with Uma Thurman and Keanu Reeves before the project changed studios, and eventually Jennifer Aniston and Paul Rudd were cast.
Y'all are straight pissing me off. Because that would have been amazing.
Sarah Jessica Parker and Robert Downey Jr. were also initially cast. I don't know what happened there, but
Probably Robert Downey Jr.'s drug situation.
that's
He,
probably fair.
this was a dark time
Yeah.
for him. I think this is when they were dating too, no?
It feels
know.
like around that time.
Yeah. And Stephen Baldwin was replaced by John Pankow after one day of work due to creative differences. Now, children, if you don't know, Haley Bieber's daddy was the quote unquote bad boy of the Baldwin brothers. and had a lot of on-set shenanigans at the time. So not shocked in the slightest.
Well, and he's very now very conservative. I don't see him starring in a movie that features a gay lead
I do
character.
if you look, I think he's always been on the conservative side, but I think what I think is that at the time, like now it feels like almost being counterculture, like
Hmm.
wanting to showcase that you are. I don't know how to
Yeah.
express that better. So at the time, things maybe felt a little bit more liberal, even though it was very conservative in the 90s. I think we forget that, but
Yeah.
yeah, he was too busy drinking and whatnot. God knows what else he was doing back
Yeah.
then.
And Winona Ryder turned down the role of Nina.
Uh, hmm. None of I don't even want this movie to exist. I think that's where I'm at. I think that's where I'm at. I don't even care who the cast could have been. I don't know. Because to me, these are a bunch of people I do not like. Not the actors. I'm talking about the characters. I'm like barely hanging on by a thread.
That's fair. Well, let's get into the plot.
Hmm.
So we meet George. He is a first grade teacher. And he's just doing his little plays and enjoying his life as a teacher. And he works at a private school. And so one of his students' parents invite him back to a dinner party after the play. So he kind of reluctantly agrees to go. The couple is Alan Alda and Allison Janney. They play Sydney and Constance Miller. And so they're having this dinner party, and Nina, played by Jennifer Aniston, shows up. And we find out that she is Allison Janney's
Stepsister.
stepsister. I couldn't remember if it's half or step.
We do miss that the whole thing is that like he's putting on this show, but his boyfriend is supposed to be there and hasn't shown up. And
Yes.
his boyfriend does show up right after the play is over and he's about to go to this dinner party. And so he tells his boyfriend he's got to come too. Already you're frustrated by the boyfriend
Yeah.
because he is very self-serving and self-centered. And apparently at first I was like, I don't know what he does because he keeps saying doctor. So I thought he was actually like a physician, but it turns out he may be just have like a doctorate and is
Mm.
a theater critic? Question mark. Still unclear. Dr. Robert Jolie, played by
Yeah.
Tim Daly, is the boyfriend. And so yes, they go to this dinner party and it's just the characters played by Allison Janney and Alan Alda are just like everyone's met somebody like them.
Yeah.
So they're more endearing than annoying. And I think that's what makes it annoying for me because I'm trying to be on the same page as Jennifer Aniston's character Nina to understand why she is so frustrated and upset and annoyed.
I think it's because like Nina has been dating, oh, what's that guy's name?
Victor,
Vince?
Vince,
Victor?
yeah, Vince.
Something. Played by John Pankow.
Yeah.
But you could tell there's just something off. Like she's not entirely into it. She doesn't really. She'll stay at his house sometimes, but really she likes to have her own space. She's a social worker, so she works with a group of kids during the day. Her sister keeps calling her is it a psychiatrist? She keeps trying to
Therapist.
a
She keeps calling her
therapist.
therapist. Yeah. And she's like, I'm a social worker. And so, like, when you are introduced to Nina, you see her. Well, when later on we see her working at the community center
Hmm.
and she's surrounded by a bunch of young black teen girls talking about sex with them. Yeah.
And Allison Janney's character Constance keeps like trying to set Nina up with all of these men. She does it to George too. Like she does not care that they are already
With people.
taken. Yeah, she's just like, "Oh, here's a nice man, George. Here you go."
Well, she does that to, no, she doesn't introduce George to anybody. George's brother, who is played by
Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn, who is an actual doctor, he wants to introduce him to an ENT doctor. So that's how George goes on this date. So when he's at the dinner party, he's seated on the other side of the table, and his boyfriend is seated next to Nina, Jennifer Aniston. And then Nina decides to start talking to him and tell him, hey, I know it's hard looking for a place in Brooklyn, but just wanted to let you know. And essentially tells her that she's telling him that his boyfriend said, hey, why don't you let my friend, ex-boyfriend stay with you?
Yeah.
Because essentially he's going to break up with him.
Yeah, like George is going to need a place to live soon. You have an extra room.
Which is, let me tell you,
Wild.
I would have knocked his kneecaps out. Like, what are you saying? How embarrassing is this?
Right?
And you don't even have the gall to tell me that you want to break up. So apparently he has met some younger lover and he wants to give it a shot or whatever. And somehow George does end up living with Nina, which I'm just like, y'all just be letting people live in your house after one dinner party?
Well, it's like they show kind of like the meet cute, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like after she talks to George, and she's very apologetic. She had no clue.
Yeah.
But then you see them kind of making fun of the other people at the dinner party and like giggling in the corner and stuff. So there's an instant friendship there.
Right.
Yeah, and so George has to go and have this conversation with Jolie, and he essentially says like, "Yeah, breaking up with you, I found someone new." So George shows up on Nina's doorstep with his little like he only had like a backpack and a suitcase. I'm
Yeah.
like, those are all your belongings, sir?
Well, I feel like he's younger than his boyfriend, and it seems like his boyfriend was way more established. And it just looks like he just ended up moving in with his boyfriend. He might have just
Yeah.
moved to New York and he didn't need any stuff. His boyfriend bought everything. So, yeah, they move in together. He's got a little room. Nina shows him around the apartment, and she seems pretty level-headed at
Mm-hmm.
first. We meet Vince. I hope that's that man's name. And he's very eccentric. He's very eccentric and a lawyer, but he doesn't work. He works for the people essentially. Like, what are those people called? The lawyers
Defense
that are,
attorney?
no,
No.
like, I don't want to say pro bono, but there's a
Public
word.
defender.
Yeah, he's like a public defender type, and he's just very boisterous, and he seems like a sweet guy. Honestly, Nina cannot tell us in this movie one thing wrong with this man,
He
except that he
rubbed
doesn't
me the
listen.
wrong way.
How? Doing what? Like, okay, he might be annoying, but
Yeah.
just the level of like how aggravated she was. And in certain instances, like I've seen worse. So I'm like, what's happening? Why is she
I
so
think
annoyed with
for
him?
me it was like the subtle things like not letting her speak or like making decisions for her and speaking for her.
Hmm.
That type of stuff. And
Yeah.
then well, once we get to the science fair scene, oh, that man I could have drop kicked him off the roof of the school.
I kind of just feel like maybe they needed to make that a little bit punchier for me in the beginning
Yeah.
but I think what they were trying to do was balance that, like, I feel like Nina should have been like, we're just not compatible.
Hmm.
The way she was talking after she got pregnant was like almost like this guy was a deadbeat or didn't deserve to be the dad or something. And it
Yeah.
was that I was like, it's okay that you guys don't get along. It's okay that your communication styles are not working and break it up. But the way she talked to George about him was weird. The
Yeah.
vibes were off about
Yeah.
that for me.
Yeah. And I think, like, yeah, the character of Vince, I was just like, oh, you. And I think the fact that he wasn't hearing her when because she did try to start having conversations with him,
Yeah,
and he would just cut her off and be like, no, it's fine, or whatever, like, so he blew her off when she was trying to say, like, this isn't working for me. Like,
right,
the spark is gone, bro.
right. Yeah, that I get. And I feel like George moving into her apartment was the catalyst. So
Hmm.
when you're dating someone and you're not connecting, and then someone else comes along, whether it's a friend or another prospect, it will help click in all the things that that person is like missing or what's missing from your relationship. And so she's living with George and they're so compatible. They get to go to dance classes, they go on little mini dates with each other. And I think that's what makes it apparent for her, like, I just can't do this anymore.
Hmm.
The problem is that it's like she takes all the feelings that she has or Vince or wanted to have with Vince and just places it on George.
Yeah.
I do think this movie is a great example or opportunity for us to talk about having different types of relationships that were not solely depending on intimate relationships
Right.
being our main source. I think if she had more of a friendship group
Yes.
and had things going on outside of just work, maybe some of Vince's stuff wouldn't even be that bad. I mean, or even if Vince is not there
Or she
and
would have had that sounding board of, like, you need to drop him,
right.
like, the confirmation that she needed to be strong enough to leave Vince. And
Yes,
and
because
Vince
she
is pissed because he's like, you're just gonna move some guy in with you, and, like, why am I not moving in with you, or why are you not moving with me? So Vince
clocks it pretty
clocks
quickly. Yeah.
that, but he doesn't think through the fact that she's been trying to tell him for a while that, like, she's just not into him anymore. And he's, like, ignoring all of those signs.
He's also like constantly harassing George that George may not be like truly gay, which is
Yeah.
like, okay. And that could have been a conversation in the 90s and 2000s, the language about bisexuality wasn't
Hmm.
even there, or any of the other besides the binary straight and gay
Right.
kind of thing. So it does, again, in this today's lens, watching this feels very rigid, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Because we do find out, like you said, they start developing this really deep relationship. They go to the dance classes, they're watching movies, like, on her bed at night, and, like, just hanging out with each other 24/7. And so one of their conversations is, she finds out that George had sex one time in high school with a woman.
Yeah,
And that has, like, that buries itself deep in her brain
right.
for later.
I do think that a good amount of the issues that arise in their relationship, because we do find out that down the line, Nina is pregnant, and she tells George they're at an amusement park, and George is like ecstatic for her, but she's kind of like, yeah, let's do this together. Like, you want to help me raise this baby? And he's like, well, what about Vince? Like, he's the father. And
As an
she's like,
uncle.
yeah, I'll be a great uncle. And she kind of just is like, no, I want you to be the dad. And I just think that's really fucked up. And even George is like, it's fucked up. Vince is the father.
Yeah.
And so they have this conversation, and it is kind of harsh from her end because at the time, again, for a gay couple or even a single gay man to go and try to adopt a child or even get a surrogate, like, it was very expensive, or they weren't really letting gay couples adopt
Right.
like as much. I don't want to say it didn't happen, but it was very difficult at the time. So for her to be kind of like dangle this carrot, knowing how much he loves children and
Hmm.
probably wants to have kids, but didn't envision that for himself, I think it's kind of like asshole behavior on her end to kind of manipulate the situation to what she wanted it to be.
Yeah, okay, I had a couple of thoughts during that scene. Number one, why you riding a janky ass roller coaster when you know you're pregnant?
Facts. Thought the same thing. Check.
And two, like, it's not really, the courts are not going to side with you if you just go in and be like, it's my baby and I want the father to have nothing to do. Like, you have to have a basis
Right.
to
And
not allow a parent access to their child.
right. And New York, let me tell you, New York don't play that.
Yeah.
It don't. They definitely are like fathers have rights as
Although
that.
I just had a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when she has the baby and the nurse comes in and George is the one that says who the father is, I wonder if she was just planning on putting George as the father on the birth certificate.
As crazy as this bitch was in this movie, I wouldn't be shocked.
And then
Because
it
she
would be
was,
like the whole paternity test
yeah,
of it all.
which is after this movie, go see the Madonna movie with Rupert Everett. It's a continuation of this shit right here. And I think I also was confusing the two. But yeah, it's some janky thought processes happening here. And I do think that they should have had a conversation because it's almost like Nina takes it that George is just going to be with her. She does kind of skirt around it later and ask, if there's a guy coming or if there's someone you want to date, date them or whatever.
Yeah.
And George does ask her, like, if a guy is going to come over right now, are you going to be okay with it? I feel like George should have really drawn the line.
Yeah.
Your girl is
Parameters.
pregnant with hormones. She's not thinking right.
Which during that whole like scene where he eventually has someone over at the house after he starts dating the British man's sugar baby.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Um, it was very much the like plot line of friends at when she's pregnant with Emma and she doesn't want Ross seeing anyone else and she's like, but
Yeah.
I'm being so unreasonable. I'm like, this is just that, although she has like the self-awareness to recognize she's being fucking crazy.
Yeah. I she quickly mistakes this relationship for a lavender marriage, but
Yes.
like also a real marriage. It starts to get very confusing. The moment she said, "Let's have this baby together," and push Vince out, because in the beginning, she seems like she actually really likes Vince. So then when she does kind of like a 360, you're like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
And he's on board. But what ends up happening is his ex-boyfriend calls him because his
Hmm.
relationship didn't work out. I would have hung up on that dude so fast.
Well, but in this scene where the ex-boyfriend calls, they start making out.
I felt so cringed out during this scene.
Like
I could not.
they're ready to have the sex when his ex-boyfriend calls.
Okay, so I truly believe George wouldn't have gone through with it. So there was a few things that happened. So they kiss, but she kisses him essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like he loves her so deeply. He does love her very much. And I think for him, it would be great if they could, be a like a family. But I just think boundaries should have been in place. And he was probably horny because they talk about like he hasn't had really sex since God knows when.
Yeah, he had that one date with the ENT.
Right.
let's back it up and talk about Steve Zahn's character, the brother, for a
Yeah.
second. So Frank is George's brother. He's a doctor. And like before he's even introduced in the movie, there is a line that he's been engaged like 7 times.
Yeah.
You see this man with a different woman every time George goes to meet him for lunch.
Yeah. And now I'm confused because the lady he ends up marrying at the end, I'm like, wasn't she the one who started off? I can't keep track. There's a million
Yeah.
different women coming through. And I do love his counsel because he tells his brother, like, nah, this ain't working. That's
Yeah.
not gonna work out the way you think it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Like that's no bueno. And so yeah, they have a lot of nights when they're together, and Nina does perk up a lot when she finds out that George had a girlfriend in high school.
hmm
I also want to say that I could understand where maybe some of Nina's confusion was because I can't imagine Nina had a bunch of gay friends
Right.
to understand, like, I think she's in proximity of a man who she's attracted to, who she loves deeply, and who she's really good friends with. And not to me, it's kind of like a slap in the face to think that he could just turn it on and off to be who he is.
Right.
Because again, there's no conversation about him being bisexual. So I have to take it at face value that he is a gay man. He's not interested in your pooty cat. Put it away and stop. Lock that bitch back up. It's a wrap. But he does close his eyes, and my favorite thing is that the first place his hand goes to is to touch her butt. I know my gay guy friends are like, I don't even want to, I don't
Yeah.
want to touch your, I don't want to look at your vajayjay. I don't want to ever see it. I don't want to touch it. And I may be fascinated with touching your boobs, but like not in a way where I'm getting off on it in any
Right.
way. So I thought that was hilarious. But yes, the phone rings and his ex-boyfriend calls and immediately snaps him out of whatever shameful spiral he was about to go into.
And Nina has this thing about like people being honest with her.
Yeah.
And so he immediately says it's his brother and gets up and goes to the other room. But essentially, it's Jolie's inviting him. Jolie has been invited to some sort of seminar at George's alma mater.
Girl, when we get to that, when we get to the school, I'm like, what is this? This is there's 2 people in here.
Yeah.
Who are we talking to?
I think that's showing how Jolie thinks
Inflated.
he's like a self-important doctor, and really no one gives a shit about what he
It
has a
was
doctorate in.
what the laugh that I let out when I saw
That
the
there were
crowd.
5 people in the audience, 2 of
There
which
was
being George and Paul.
when I saw there was like 80 million people on that stage, and there was like, I said, some of y'all need to get off the stage and go sit in that audience. Because, like, give me a break.
Yeah, so
So-
Jolie invites George. George agrees to go, and I'm already like, George, cut your losses, bro.
Have some dignity, sir.
Yeah. But and the other weird thing is when we get to the B&B, so George agrees to go. He immediately admits to Nina that it was
Jolie.
Jolie, so he's going to go for the weekend. She has agreed to go to the Hamptons with her sister and her family.
Let me just tell you, yes, your sister may be annoying as fuck, but they're also rich as fuck.
They
Yeah.
are so fucking rich.
I would be living it up. I would not be married to some deadbeat half lawyer and trying to sleep with my gay best friend. I would be living
How-
laps of luxury.
How are you miserable during a free stay in the Hamptons at the beach?
I don't know. She's acting like these people want to murder her. Like,
Come get me
George-
now. I can't stay here another minute. I'm like, You're sitting there like having a little fizzy water, staring at the ocean and reading a book.
And George tells her before he's going, like, oh, I'll call you. And when I tell you that this woman sat the entire time in the Hamptons looking at that phone, even Martha Stewart calls and she doesn't get excited. She's waiting for George to fucking call her. And my question is why? Like, why is that so important?
I think she's making up scenarios in her head and she just needs to hear from him and that he hasn't. Because in her head, she still has hope that they're going to end up together.
And I love that her sister sat her ass down and said, bitch, he's with another man. He's gay. What are we doing?
Alice and Janney laying truth bombs on Nina.
And then, go ahead.
I do like that. Well, it was very confusing because George agrees to go on this trip, which for all intent and purpose seems like a romantic vacation upstate that
Right.
happens to just have a conference in the middle of it. But when they get to the B&B, they're like, okay, one king bed. And he's like, no, we need two twins. So little old lady eavesdropping on the corner is like, I got two twin beds in my room. I can switch.
I'd hate for you boys to have to be on top of each other.
Oh, sweet summer lady.
But I do love that George holds his own and he's like, you
But
wanted me to
that's
come,
the
I came.
confusing part is like, why go on this trip if you weren't thinking, I want to get
Right.
back together with Julie?
Or why can't he set those same boundaries with his best friend who
Yeah.
clearly he knows? Like, you can't tell me that he doesn't know that she has feelings for him. He
Right.
should have set that straight with her because essentially he's leading her on into her delusions.
Yes. So, yeah, they go to this. I don't even know what I think they just invited whoever wanted to talk could just get up on stage. It looked like a fourth grade presentation where everyone in class had to go.
Not even everyone in class. Literally paid actors in the audience. And what I love is that George and Paul, by the way, is, I don't know what the word is, cabana boy, because him and the other dude they haven't been like sexual so far. Rodney. But
So Rodney calls Paul his, like, not apprentice, like protege almost.
yes, it's like he's supposed to be his
Mentoring him.
mentor, yeah.
Yeah. But Paul lives with Rodney. They do wine tasting every evening. It's very side-eye.
I know this sounds horrible, but it almost feels like he's grooming him.
Yes, because Paul is only like 19, I think. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like Paul's really young. He's just started college, and Rodney is an old man.
Yeah. Yeah, like let's call it what it is. I mean, it's very like the whole dynamic. I was like, wait, what's going on?
I feel like this book turned movie just took like every different type of situation for a gay man and just shoved everything into one movie.
Yeah.
Like, you're either being groomed by an older gentleman or you have this really rich boyfriend that cheats on you, or like you're in a relationship with a woman and she falls in love with you. Like, it just feels like there's a lot of stereotypes going on in this movie.
Yeah,
But
a lot of tropes are in this.
yes. So, but George and Paul have a genuine connection. Like,
Yeah.
they both love the theater. And so they start a relationship. And like, Rodney's on the up and up. He's like, yeah, like, there's nothing sexual about this.
But he's sad.
He is, because it feels like Paul is Rodney's only friend.
And I think he's in love with Paul, but Paul is in love with George, played by
Yes.
Paul Rudd. Paul.
Paul, Paul.
However, he doesn't nag Paul the way Nina does.
Oh,
So
Nina.
Nina gets on the phone when George calls her, when he finally remembers after being in a lake, question mark, with Paul,
There
and
was lots
then
of frolicking that day. Time got away
yes.
from him.
And he finally remembers to call Nina and he calls her and she's thinking the worst. She's so worried about what's his face?
Jolie.
Jolie, not even knowing that Paul is about to what's the word? That Paul's about to wreck her shit.
Yes.
She has no idea. And because he doesn't, and that's the other thing. George, if this is your BFF, why didn't you tell her that you met a dude, that you're hanging out with a
Right.
dude? He makes it all secretive because guess what? He knows Nina likes him more. And he knows that this arrangement is all sorts of fucked up with a lot of like unsaid things. And that's not right at all. So then Nina says, because she's been kidnapped, right, in the Hamptons. She's like, let's rush to get home. She's like, I'll meet you tonight. And instead of George just saying, no, I actually want to stay where I'm at, and you can stay your ass at the damn fancy ass house you're in the Hamptons. Dummy. So she gets a ride on one of the buses, the jitney maybe, and Alan Alda's Sydney, who's her brother-in-law, takes her to the bus. I am very disturbed at the fact that he says he's trying to tell her that she's a great girl and that if he wasn't married to her stepsister, maybe she would be his mistress. Not even to say like if you weren't
That was
married,
wild.
right? I'm like, white people are saying the craziest shit in this movie. Nina gets on the bus, and guess what? Vince is there with Melissa, who works with George. And Melissa is being a little bit catty because, bitch, what do you think is gonna happen? That bitch is about to have my child. You think you could just like keep me away from her? It's super weird.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want like, oh, come back here. Where are you going? Just leave her alone. That's the mother of my child, whether
Yeah.
we are together or not. Like, what?
Yeah. And was the science fair before or after the
Before,
trip?
because that's when they decided to, where
When
she,
George was on board.
because Nina, after she found out she was pregnant, she says to George, let's have this baby together, but doesn't say anything to Vince whatsoever. Then
Yeah.
somehow they have some sort of brunch at their house, not on purpose. Because she stopped talking to Vince for a while when she got pregnant. And her stepsister, and brother-in-law come over unexpectedly. Vince comes over with a full spread. It actually looked really good.
It really did. I was like, oh, you got all the schmear.
Yeah. And that's when they find out that Nina's pregnant because there's a bunch of stuff she really can't eat because she's pregnant.
Mhm.
And then after that, Nina is at Vince's house the whole time. George doesn't really see her that much. She's with him. And so at said science fair at her niece's school, that's when she's able to reconnect with George. And she acts like she was held hostage by Vince this whole
Yeah.
time. And she can't stand him. And then George's bitch ass is yelling at him too. Like, what? I was so confused.
Well, and then this is where I was like, I get you're being ganged up on, but also like she's been trying to break up with you and you haven't been listening. So
Right.
like I feel like in a way she feels that this is the only way she can like sever ties is to just like be brutally honest and like GTFO.
Yeah.
But when Vince turns around and says like essentially I never want to see your child, and when it asks about its father, tell it he
He
never
doesn't
wanted
say,
to lay his eyes on his fucking mother again or something. Like it was harsh.
I don't think he said anything about the child. I think he just said, and when my child asks about me, where I am, just
Oh,
say that I never wanted to lay my eyes on their mother ever again. But he never says anything about the kid.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a fucking lawyer. Ain't no way he wasn't gonna make sure he got custody. He just let her be. Plus, he was with his new boo thing at the time, so he was occupied during her
Oh, he
pregnancy.
wasn't with her at the science fair. That's where he met her.
No, he later. I just mean
Oh,
like
yeah,
he didn't bother her about the pregnancy stuff
right. Yeah,
because he
because
was
then there's this
busy.
whole subplot where George's co-teacher is making eyes at Vince at the science fair, and then once she gets on the jitney home,
Yes, that's when she's
he's on there with
Melissa. That's what I was saying.
yeah,
Melissa's
okay.
being such a crazy person, acting like Vince, like how dare Vince talk? Like that's her, the father of her
Got it.
child.
Yeah.
So after she gets off the jitney, she's home. She gets to New York. Well, they were always in New York, but she gets back to the city. Randomly, her purse gets stolen. Like that whole scene was just weird. So she has to go into the police station. A police officer, a very sweet, I don't think she deserved him, man, takes her home and she just goes off about her whole life. And he's just listening and being very sweet.
Yep.
He does, like, this man don't care that she's pregnant or that she got million baby daddy situations going on because of George and Vince. It's just
Yeah.
very complicated and he seems to be on board. But he essentially was like, "You're not looking for a new man or what's going on?" And she's like, "Nah, I'm good." Because she still thinks she's got George at home.
Yes.
And when he drops her off, I just thought it was the rudest thing that Nina does not even say thank you to the
Yes.
officer.
Because
She,
because George is sitting on the stoop waiting for her.
And George is rude too, because why isn't he like, who the fuck is that? Or
Yeah.
thank you for bringing her home. I didn't like that shit. It didn't sit well in my soul. Didn't like it.
Agreed. So Nina's jealousy starts to escalate because George is spending more time with Paul. And so she's like, you ain't got time for me. Like,
Well, yeah, she doesn't know Paul exists. She just thinks it's his friends.
yeah. And she's just like she's getting, time is passing. So she's more and more pregnant. And her hormones and her crazy spinning out of control. Just like, where are you? Why are you not spending time with me? She's like emotionally manipulating him into like trying to get him to spend time at home with her.
But I'll be honest with this. Yes, we know that Nina is like in love with George. But there's another layer. Like, if I had gotten pregnant and we lived together, we're roommates, and your bitch ass is gone all the time, and I'm pregnant through this whole pregnancy, I'd be like, "Are you coming home?
And you
Am I
had
gonna
said
see
you were
you?"
gonna help me, and now you're not home. Yeah.
I would be like, "Bitch, where are you, Jackie? Where are you? I'd be beeping you." Yeah. So I give her a little bit of slack, but yeah, I'm just gonna blame George now. At first I was very upset with Nina, but the bitch is pregnant, and you've thrown some mixed signals out there.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
And not being honest that you're dating for fear of Nina's reaction
Is not right.
No.
She said she wanted honesty,
Yeah.
and you set her up to fail essentially because you take her to your boy toys show because she's been bitching. And you don't let her know because Rodney's there, so it looks like that's his boyfriend. It just it was kind of fucked up. It really was.
And she befriends Rodney, and so now Rodney and Paul are coming over for Thanksgiving dinner.
But Rodney tells her the truth from the jump. Like when they're by themselves, he kind of insinuates that Paul and George are together. So that's the first instance, and then she invites them to Thanksgiving because I think she's trying to like mark her territory essentially. And then, oh no, you know what? Rodney doesn't tell her at the play. That's why she invites them to Thanksgiving. It's at Thanksgiving where Rodney's like, "You didn't know these two were together?" Like,
yeah.
Okay, it's kind of fucked up. But he says, "You have an entire Thanksgiving and everyone is here. You're the only straight female. You're the only girl here.
Hmm.
And you're also the only heterosexual here. How far down the line is this gonna get for you in your life?
Right. But she also sees the sadness of Rodney watching
Yeah.
Paul and George together. And so
Yeah.
that upsets her. I'm sure, like, she was upset by the other stuff, but that's what she initially tells Paul or George is upsetting her is like, you're flaunting this relationship in front of Rodney.
I think that's what she uses as an excuse.
Yes.
And this is why the conversation that Ronnie has with her is so important. Ronnie is an older man. He knows what it's like to have the object of his affection not feel the same way, but he's also a man who's lived his entire life.
Hmm.
He tells her, you don't want to be in the middle of your life alone and lonely, because he's speaking from experience of where he is in this moment in time. Hence why he doesn't harass Paul, because he loves Paul so much and he knows that, Paul is young. Paul should live his life and have the opportunity because he's already done it. That's why he looks at Nina and he's like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm old. I've lived my life. What are you doing? You're too young to be in these shenanigans. It's kind of crazy. Like, why are you in this?
Yeah. And Nina, like, George asks Nina, is it okay if Paul stays over? She says yes, but she does not mean yes. And then later on, George comes out of the room to get some ice cream, and she, like, picks this huge fight with him. And he's like, you told me this was okay.
Yeah, she did, but George fucked this up.
Yeah.
He knew he should have told Paul to go home. Paul pushed to stay the night because he's like, why am I competing with this bitch? You're my man.
Yeah.
So I think Paul purposely made sure that he's like, you're pussyfooting around about this shit, and this conversation needs to be had. So I'm going to insert myself into this situation.
Hmm.
And yeah, they get into a huge fight, and it's not looking good.
No.
And I think the next thing is George and Nina go to George's brother's wedding. This
Yes.
is like the culmination of everything. And they have because they took dance lessons together, which was super sweet. So they're able to dance. This belly, this pregnancy belly, looking fake as hell, like a beach ball. No,
Ken did
fooling no
say, he
one.
goes, remember when we took dancing lessons? We took dancing lessons in like 2009. Neither one of us can dance even after the lessons. But he was like, that was fun. I was like, okay.
You guys should try it again. I think ballroom dancing is a little bit better because at least there's steps. Freestyling it is.
No, we learned the cha-cha and we learned the waltz.
Yeah.
The problem is I always tried to
Take the lead. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to tell me. You didn't have to tell me.
We were just fighting the whole time. Who got to lead?
Poor Kenneth.
So eventually Nina gives birth to a daughter. George is there when she has the baby. Vince shows up shortly thereafter, and this is when George tells the nurse, like, it's Vince's name on the birth certificate. And then essentially, is it Nina that says, I think we need to be alone for a while?
After the wedding, they have this conversation because George says, she's like, I just want to be with you. And George is like, I want Paul.
Yeah.
Like, he's finally honest about his truth. And Nina's like, I can't really handle that. And I need, like you said, we need space. And so he helps her have the baby, but she's like, I need you not to be home when we come home. It should just be me and the baby. Which, okay, I'm not mad at it. But I do think it's kind of insane. I would have, like, as much as it hurts, I would have let George or Vince be with me, like,
for the first month or so.
It's hard as fuck. Like,
yeah, especially on your own without getting a break. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much. But Nina does what she wants to do. So he's like, okay, I'll talk to Paul. And then after this scene, it's like 3 years 3 or 4 years later. I don't
It's
know how many.
later than that because Molly, I think is what she
Six
names her
years
baby.
later?
Yeah, like she's in kindergarten or first
Kindergarten.
grade.
Yeah.
She's in the play. George is now the principal of the
Oh, didn't
school.
clock that. Didn't clock that.
Vince and Michelle are still together. Like Molly has all of these people at
I thought Vince and Melissa broke up.
did they?
Who's Michelle? I'm so
Oh,
confused.
Melissa. No, you're good.
Oh,
I wrong young name. Did they break
okay.
up?
I
I thought
thought they
Vince.
did
Oh,
because Vince and Nina have a conversation before she has the baby. Like they get on to good terms because she sees the police officer with his niece and nephew at the park while she's talking to
that's right.
Vince. So yes, him and Melissa broke up, but Nina and Vince are on a good footing with each other to co-parent.
Yes. So they're co-parenting. They're in the audience. We see Constance and whatever
Sydney
Sydney.
and their very punk ass daughter now.
Yeah, rebellious daughter Sally, I think is her name.
Yeah.
They're all in the audience. So like Molly is very well supported with this kind of maid family.
Yeah. She said she had the most people. Plus, Nina is dating
Well,
Lewis.
and Paul is in the audience and Nina is dating Lewis. And so we see Lewis in the
Yeah.
audience as well. So we see them walk outside and like it seems like Molly has a good relationship with Lewis. Co-parenting's going well. And then Nina and George and Paul all exchange like hugs and stuff like that. So it just seems like everything worked out the best that it could. And there are a lot of like supportive people that kind of made this little family work.
Yeah. Well,
And that is the object of my affection.
the object of my fury.
So when they first show Constance and Sydney Street, Ken goes, "Look at all those sobs." I guess the entire street was lined with sobs.
Oh,
And he was like,
cars.
Cars. Yep.
Took a second.
And then when Sydney pulls up, Ken visibly like he had a physical reaction to the car. He's like, "Oh my God, it's a Audi Cabriolet. You don't see those around." Blah, blah. Danielle, I wish I would have started recording him because he went through the whole history of car making with Audi and the platforms that these cars are on and how they're interchangeable. And they only made that car to 1998 and how it had so much time on screen. He took a picture and sent it to his friends. He was so excited.
The lack of care about these cars. I almost want to fast forward you talking about this. I'm glad he had a good time though. You
He's
better
like,
than me because I'd have been like, I would have definitely floated to another thing in my brain and just nodded and smiled. Oh boy.
yeah. So, what other fun facts
Fun
do we
facts.
have?
Well, the screenplay was, as we said, was written by Wendy Wasserstein. God, I can't say that 2 times fast. She actually won a Pulitzer Prize for her play, The Heidi Chronicles. I don't know how that's connected, but it definitely did win for this movie.
During the scene at the auditorium, Allison Janney was disguised as a man to prank Nicholas Hittner, but he didn't recognize her and filmed the scene anyway. The movie was released with Janney appearing in several shots as a man with a beard.
I now have to go back and check. So this movie was filmed in New York, and it made me very happy to see certain scenes. So when you told me that when I saw that the director of this movie directed Center Stage, there was a scene. I don't know if it was the dancing scene, but they were somewhere, and I don't know why. I just automatically felt like, oh, this is reminiscent of Center Stage. It had nothing to do with it. It was so weird. Maybe I'm just psychic. I don't know.
Well, it earned a GLAAD Media Award nomination for Outstanding Film.
Again, this is telling you where the times were with media, because it would get eaten up alive today, I
Yes.
think. I don't know. Somebody made comment and said, I love this movie. I
Yeah.
may be wrong. Many retrospective reviews now view the film as underrated because of Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston's chemistry, especially compared to more formula-driven romantic comedies from the same era. I think all of those people need to rewatch it.
I think they do. I did think that they were really sweet together.
They are,
But
yeah.
Paul Rudd has chemistry with the wall.
True.
So, and Nigel Hawthorne won the London Critics Circle Film Award for British Supporting Actor of the Year.
Oh,
He played Rodney.
okay. And even though we've been talking about Wendy, who wrote the movie, it's actually based on a novel by Stephen Macaulay. Very interested to see what this book is like, how much better it probably is in
I
comparison.
had the thought like I should probably listen to the book and see. It does have a 3.8 out of 4 stars on Goodreads.
Okay.
So, and the synopsis sounds more of a comedy.
Yeah. Well, if you have any thoughts, if you had any hard opinions like I did, hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Threads. And Jackie, what is your present day reading of Object of My Affection?
I mean, I didn't hate it as much as you did. It had its moments. And I just think Paul Rudd is so charming, and I can really just watch him in anything. And it had a strong supporting cast, but I'm still gonna go 2-day rental. It's not something I'm gonna pop
Watch a bunch of
on.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same day rental. If I never see this movie ever again, I will be happy. Yeah, absolutely not.
Well, if you have any opinions about this movie or any of the other movies we've done, hit us up at our quick drop. You can either call in and leave us a voicemail or text us at 909-601-6653, and you could be featured on a future episode.
And next week, we're covering Saving Face, where family expectations, secret romances, and awkward dinner conversations are all on the menu.
And as always, be kind and rewind.